So far, we've spent our time trying to understand what a stack is, as well as how they can be used. For example, the last section talked about using a stack in order to evaluate a postfix expression. But that's not our only goal for this section. Really what we're going to be doing in the next 4 sections is implementing a stack from scratch, right? So instead of using that one provided by Java, we're going to do it ourselves. One of the last things we want to talk about before we start actually doing the implementation of this thing is collections in terms of exceptions. At some point in time, something's probably going to go wrong. You have a collection, maybe somebody tries to take something out of it when that collection is empty. Well, that should give you an error. That should throw an exception. Exceptions are something that can be used to indicate when something goes wrong in a method, right? That method will throw an exception, an out of bounds exception, a divide by zero exception. Well, our collection should do the same thing, to let the user of that collection know that something illegal has happened. The thing I want to stress here is that exceptions, or errors in general, should be specific to the concept of the collection, not the implementation. Remember that from the point of view of abstraction and encapsulation, somebody using the stack, for example, the developer of the postfix evaluator, should not care how that stack was implemented, right? That stack should not be able to throw exceptions that are implementation specific. The only exceptions it can throw should be when something that's a problem in terms of the stack concept happen, right? We try to remove something, we try to do a pop when there's nothing there, right? That's the only time we want to throw an exception. Let's jump back to the general diagram we had of the stack concept. So let's take a look here. Here we had 2 basic operations, adding and removing, or push and pop. So let's think for a moment. In terms of a stack concept, push. Can I always push? Is there ever going to be an error situation? Well, the answer should be no, right? I can add as many things as I want to the top of the stack, and there shouldn't be an issue, right? There's no kind of rule in the idea of a stack that says, oh, a stack can only have 1,000 items. There's nothing like that. I should be able to add elements to a stack as many times as I want to. There should be no exceptions that can be thrown. So let's think then about pop. Can pop ever throw an exception? Can something ever go wrong with it in terms of the concept? And in this case, yeah, right? We gave the example a few minutes ago that maybe we have an empty stack and we try to do a pop on that. Well, empty stack doesn't have anything there, so we can't actually remove an element, right? So that's a case where there's an issue in terms of the concept, right? The concept of the stack says that a pop removes the top thing, but there's also a chance in that concept that there's nothing there to remove. In that case, it's fair game for you to throw an exception to say, oh, there's no element there for me to remove. So for pop, we're going to have an exception. For add, we're not going to have an exception.